two, one. Welcome to the Piece of Music Podcast. I'm your host, Pete Ellis, and today I've got Nurse Deanna on the phone. We go back to the high school days of Morton West, and I'm really thrilled to have her on to get to pick her brain a little bit about the healthcare industry and how she's been through these crazy times. So, without further ado, how are you, Deanna?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a very long time since we've spoken.
Yes.
So it's like a whole life ago. Can you tell me like what I know you're in healthcare. Can you elaborate on what you do day to day?
Sure. Do you mean like job titles or just like the department that I'm in?
A little of both.
Okay, so I currently have two nursing jobs. I work at McNeil in Berwyn.
Okay.
I am on the 36 South unit, which is our telemetry slash like ICU step down.
Okay.
But most recently has become a COVID positive only unit
Wow.
slash hospice COVID unit.
Oh wow.
So it's been a little more hectic there lately than normal.
Quite a change.
Oh, big change, very
Yeah.
big change.
And so you've been there since before all of this. When did you get started?
I started there October of 2018.
2018. Okay, so you kind of got to see it. Did did they sell over to Loyola?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so were you there just before that change then?
Yeah, it was owned originally by Tenant when I first started because I was there as a tech,
Okay.
and then I transferred to the nurse role. But yeah, Tenant owned us, and then Loyola bought us out.
Okay, so has there been some changes since all of that?
Yeah, there's been some changes.
Yeah, there usually always is, right? Um,
Yeah.
so back to the whole COVID thing. When did it all kind of start for you there?
With McNeil, we really weren't seeing many. My other job is where I was more exposed to COVID initially. We recently opened up the middle of April because they actually closed my unit because the census for our normal tele patients was down, and they decided to make us a COVID positive unit because the other units that had been made COVID were already full to capacity.
Okay.
So they opened us mid-April, and we would have all positive slash rule out patients, and if they were ruled out negative, they were taken off our unit, and only the positive patients stay.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
So you've been directly exposed pretty much since the beginning.
Yes.
Wow. So how have you been taking precautionary steps to keep yourself healthy and
That's a there's really no way. I mean, I started doing like protein drinks in the morning and making sure I'm taking vitamins, and I got the emergency drinks that I've been doing. And then I try to make sure that I go in, I change into my scrubs at work, and then they give us scrubs to wear, so those are left behind before I leave. My shoes are wiped down with our bleach wipes,
okay.
and they're bagged. And then I stay in the basement of my house. I stay away from my family so that I have no chance of passing something to them. And I've
Wow.
actually just been picking up so many shifts, I'm barely ever home because I figure I'm helping and I'm already exposed, so it's better for me to be there than at home with my family.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's rough. It's a rough one. I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. It's really it's really good to see people that I have known throughout my life to be making such an impact.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really like it touches the heart, you know, like I know that you're working hard. I can see it and I can tell that like things are probably stressful. You know, I mean not probably. I'm sure they are. Everyone's going crazy and so like to be on the front line of it, it's really impressive and thank you again.
Oh, no problem.
So what got you into healthcare?
Actually, Lena did. After I had Lena, because I wanted to be a marine biologist prior, so
Okay.
obviously going away to college was not a possibility.
Yeah.
So when I started taking her to pediatric appointments because she was born early,
Okay.
I started to fall in love with the role and helping people, and I thought I wanted to be a peds nurse. nursing school showed me I did not want to be a peds nurse.
No.
I realized I wanted to be an ER nurse, which I actually am. That's my other job, and I absolutely love it. I love the facility. The managers are fantastic, and my coworkers are amazing.
That's cool.
So I actually did fall in love with the ER.
Followed, like, found something that you were passionate about, stuck to it, and now you're doing that.
Exactly.
That's so awesome.
Mhm.
Continue.
Oh, I fell in love with it there, and I love doing it. And regardless, I mean, it does suck constantly having to wear that mask because you get so dizzy sometimes from constantly breathing in your CO2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we do have to step off and take the mask off and take like a couple deep breaths and try to catch some fresh air.
Yeah.
But, I mean, both of my jobs, I have great teams, and we realize we're in this together, and they're always there no matter what. If I'm in the ER and there's an ambulance run, your whole team's going in with you. You're not by yourself.
Wow.
And there's days where it's really bad, and there's days where we see things that are very hard to see.
Yeah.
And if you have to cry, there's always someone there giving you a big hug because they're in it with you, which is nice.
Wow. It's such a change from, like, most people's day to day. Like, it's got to be just such I don't even know, like, a whirlwind of a job. I can't even imagine what you have to see and stuff. So it's a special type of person that can do that, and it's needed in this time for sure. So I know it can be discouraging, but keep your head up because you're doing awesome stuff.
Thank you.
So what what has been some of the thing, like, what would you tell people if you could tell a larger audience of people to do right now?
You mean like prevention wise?
Just anything that you may have knowledge of that we should know as, like, laymen that don't really have a clue what's going on.
Well, first off, because the one thing that truly aggravates me, and I have several people that ask me, and it's very disheartening, is people keep asking me if this is a hoax. Definitely is not a hoax. It's the more recent weeks, we're seeing very critical patients. Before, it was like progressing really slow, so they were able to be monitored easier. These patients are crashing so fast now. It's actually very disheartening, and it's very hard. So, I mean, the best thing to do is seriously just keep your distance, stay home, wash your hands. If you can aerosol the air, and self-quarantine. A lot of people don't even understand what self-quarantining means.
Yeah.
And it's just, they constantly think this is a joke, and it's really not.
Yeah, that's it's different. Like, a lot of people I know don't have not experienced any of it firsthand.
Yeah.
So it is like when, it's like this so far away thing, even though it's here, it feels to some of them like it's not. And so you can see some people are, like, not at all taking any precautions ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, with everything being, like, where you can be asymptomatic and not even know it, it's like it's a really scary time. So obviously keep your hands clean, disinfect the air, self quarantine. Now this masks thing is going where you have to wear masks when you go into public. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's been for a little bit, but now it's like a mandatory thing. And then we've got other states that are opening back up. How do you feel about that?
I disagree with that very much.
Yeah.
I understand everybody wants to get back to their normal life, and small businesses, they're dependent on their business. But with how bad, like I'm not going to give information because I'm not going to violate my HIPAA protection, but
Absolutely.
since I've become a nurse, I haven't had any of my patients pass.
Okay.
And my first time was due to Corona.
Okay.
And these patients are stuck in a room. You can't have visitors.
Yeah, that's so
You
sad.
have phone calls, or my patient was dying, and she was perfectly healthy prior to this. And watching her struggle to breathe, like we had them on so much oxygen. It's the highest amount that we can give before we intubate them. And if they're intubated, there's a very, very high number of people that will never come off of that. So her family convinced her not to do it. and we had to make her comfortable. And watching somebody struggle to breathe, and because she wasn't able to, I would go in the room, I would bring my phone, and I would call her family and FaceTime them for her
Mm-hmm.
so they could talk to her. And watching somebody's life completely, like, she was talking to me the morning I got there, she was talking to me, she was telling me who the people were in her family that were on the phone call, and she was fine. And within a matter of an hour, she was completely comatose, not able to speak, struggling to breathe, and turning blue. It was
Oh my
truly a very
goodness.
horrible experience.
I'm sorry you have to go through that. I'm sorry that everyone has to go through that right now. It's just like it's just unreal. Have you seen any hope of like any like so you've seen obviously someone pass, but what about people getting better? What are those stories like?
We do have patients that they come in and their symptoms are not very severe, and those are usually patients that don't have like a history of like lung diseases of any sort, like COPD and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They're more healthier people before, and it doesn't affect them as hard, so we're able to send them home after a couple of days, as long as their oxygen levels are staying up and they're able to walk and eat and they're not getting worse,
Mhm.
we are able to send them home. So we did send home 2 patients yesterday from my unit at McNeil, which was wonderful.
That's good.
Yeah, so I mean, when we do that, they do play music over the intercom. The nurses stand outside and they clap outside the unit. So there are things that we do to celebrate the lives that are saved. And every
Awesome.
day there's an overheaded, and it's a bell for each person that was discharged safely home, and they ring the bell for as many patients as gone home.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. You gotta keep some sort of positivity up during the time.
exactly.
Wow. So wow, I'm like floored away by some of what you're saying. It's like it's hard to I mean like a year ago I went to like the store the other day with a mask and a beanie on, and I felt like I was gonna like rob the place. Like it's like a year ago you would have never been able to go in public like that. It's
Exactly.
crazy
Yeah.
how fast things change.
Yeah, it's changing very drastically, and it's just because we don't have a full handle on this. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to truly be like, okay, if we give you this vaccine, you're going to be okay because we don't have one, or if we give you this medicine, everything's going to heal, because we can't say that.
Mhm.
So we're just treating the symptoms, monitoring the patient the best of the ability that we can.
And so it's just all over the place then, huh? So like young people, old people, healthy people, sick people, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
There's nothing that seems to be a commonality.
No, there's one of the newest signs that we're seeing, and it's something that's driven towards people that prone to be more positive, is loss of taste and smell. That's new. Like, we'll ask that question, like, have you lost your sense of taste recently? And if they're like, yeah, like, everything's starting to taste really bland, I can't taste anything, and they usually only have like one or two other symptoms that are very mild, they usually end up testing positive. But those are patients that usually can go home and self quarantine. And
So
then
they
patients with a short, I'm sorry.
no, so you're saying that when they have so a newer thing that you've been realizing is that when they have loss of taste, it's usually an early sign.
Yes.
Okay. And then when
Yeah,
they have
this,
shortness of breath, then you would keep
that's
that.
a late sign. Yeah.
It's already
Well, I
deep
can't
rooted.
say that it's already in, because there are certain qualifications. So, like, when patients come in, we always do, like, in my AD, we do an initial assessment on what symptoms they're having, how long they've been going on, if they've been exposed to anybody that's been sick or anybody that's been positive.
Mhm.
Patients that come from nursing homes, they're automatically tested just due to the high levels of positive patients in nursing homes.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then based on their symptoms, like, we'll get patients that'll come in, and if they don't have symptoms or anything, we do a chest x-ray, we do blood work. If everything's coming back negative, we'll tell them to self-quarantine. If their symptoms worsen, to come back.
Okay.
We only test the patients that are going to be admitted that need to be monitored closely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, because I had a few people that I knew that got sick, and then like the doctors wouldn't even let them come in because they were like, if you're not actually having respiratory issues, it's like you can be transferring it to somebody or get it by coming in. It was a whole like weird, really weird thing, like because it's like such a weird like you don't want to give it to people, but you don't also want to wait too long and not know that it's that. Like if you can do something to fight it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they have facilities now that are opening. I believe there's two or three. They're like literally like drive-through testing sites, but the lines are about like 5 to 6 hour waits.
Wow.
And you literally are in your car, they check you in, and you drive up, they swab you, and you go on your way. So, I mean, they do have testing sites. I'm not exactly sure. I think there's one in Kankakee and one in Will County, I believe.
Wow.
And they're drive-up facility sites that you literally get tested and go, and then they call you with your results.
That's crazy. 5 6 hour wait lines.
Oh yeah.
So testing has been a challenge for healthcare providers to get.
No, these sites also offer testing for healthcare providers as well.
No, I mean like for you guys to have in the hospitals. It's been a challenge up until recently.
It's not a challenge. We do have the testing swabs, but like I said, though, we normally don't swab patients unless they're symptomatic.
Mm-hmm.
Because anybody that's swabbed is usually admitted.
Okay.
So we want to reserve the beds we do have for the
Okay.
patients that need them.
Yeah, I get that. So how about like supplies and stuff? Like how is the healthcare chain being affected by the supply chain?
Well, supplies are scarce.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing the best they can to provide us with the equipment. Like, we've had a lot of people donate stuff. We have, like, the chemistry goggles and face shields, the N95s. They are being, after we use them, we put them into a huge bin, and then they're recycled and reused.
Okay.
So we have that, but my job, like at McNeil, we have washable gowns. So we wear the gown once, throw it in the laundry because we have in-house laundry. So they just wash them and replenish them every day.
Okay.
So that's always nice because we're consistently in these rooms with these patients and they're all positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a lot of the healthcare workers been testing positive?
On my unit, the numbers are increasing a little bit. In the ER, we've had a couple, but I mean, we're in the ER. There's no way to tell what's walking through the door all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I have heard that the number is increasing a little bit, but it's not like an crazy, insanely high number.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So let's get into some positive stuff.
Okay.
What was college like for you? You basically did you do like community college?
Yeah, I actually went to Morton College. That's where
Okay.
I got my nursing degree from.
Okay.
So I was close to home because, as you know, I got my little, well, not so little one, but little
Yes,
one.
so she's going to college.
She is. She accepted her offer to Western Michigan. So she'll be
Wow.
going to Western Michigan this fall.
So how has that? Because she was graduating this year.
Yeah, she's graduating.
How has that affected her school and studies, and how has that affected you?
Unfortunately, they've been doing the homeschooling since March,
Okay.
which I feel is not fair to the students because you can't expect them. Like, she's taking organic chemistry. How can you teach yourself organic chemistry? Like, that's not
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel they did get robbed this half a year,
Mhm.
and they did push back graduation and their prom till the end of June. So if everything reopens, they will get prom and graduation.
I hope
But
so.
if not, then we'll see. I hope it opens because I feel like every young person graduating high school deserves that milestone in their life.
Yeah, I mean, how unfortunate would that be to not have that because of some weird thing that like
Yeah,
I don't know, like maybe next year isn't even a thing, you know? But like at the
exactly.
same time, you don't want to have that like big party if it is a thing and have your family get sick. So it's like this
Yep.
weird ugh.
It's always a double-edged sword when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's amazing. I just can't even believe that much time has gone by already.
I know. I feel so old.
It's weird. Like you blink your eyes and then all of a sudden like kids are grown up. Like
Yeah.
it's an interesting one. Um so you got into healthcare. W- what has been the most rewarding thing that's happened since you started?
The most rewarding thing,
Yeah.
I don't really think there's just one thing because you never stop learning.
Uh-huh.
There's always something new. But the most rewarding, I think it's when you're actually able to help someone. Like in the ER, I get to see what I do, how it impacts somebody's life.
Yeah.
Because they come in, they're not breathing, we're doing CPR, and we get that heartbeat back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good feeling knowing that you did that.
Yeah.
I mean, my team did that, I should say. Me and my team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
Yeah.
So has there been like maybe a specific instance you can speak of that was like maybe the coolest thing that you've been a part of since you started?
I don't know. Because in the ER, the stuff that comes in like that's actually kind of tragic to begin with, and
Yeah,
they're
so it's not
all
like
pretty
cool, it's
similar.
just crazy stuff all the time.
I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. I mean, I've had patients come in that have had glass bottles up the butt.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen some crazy, crazy stuff you would never think of, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Like pushed up there or broken up there?
No, pushed up there.
Oh, okay. Stuck.
Yeah, yeah, it was a pleasure tool that got stuck in the sphincter, and he had to have surgery to remove it. So, like I said, there's always like some downside to it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean, we did deliver a baby the one time, and the baby survived, mom survived. So, I mean,
That's
that's
cool.
always a good thing, too.
Yeah.
But we don't do that very often.
Okay. So, because most of the time, like a mother would have a specific doctor, and it wouldn't be an emergency thing.
Well, because for us, well, right now our OB unit is closed,
Mhm.
so we have like some staff there in case of emergencies.
Mhm.
But before, if they were in labor, we automatically call OB, and they go straight upstairs as long as there's no medical reason for them to be downstairs.
Oh, okay. So it's got to be like a special situation for you to deliver the baby.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It just happened that woman was so far into her labor, there was no time to get her upstairs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. That's like probably something different that maybe you didn't expect to be doing. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet there's so many different like jobs in what you do that like there's so many different people that do so many different of those jobs that there's a lot that you don't get to see.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, like in my ER, we don't have residents. Like at McNeil, we have residents, so they do more of the stuff, so we really don't get to see as much.
Mhm.
But since we don't have residents, we get to be hands-on with the doctors, so we do get to sit up front with stitches and staples, and like when people have like abscesses, when they cut them open and drain them and things like that, we're working directly with the doctor. So we do get to see a lot more cool stuff that we normally would not get to see,
In
which is
the
awesome.
in the ER.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you gotta get both ends of it then, because you're in the ER and in what ICU.
It's a tele. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm a floor and ER nurse.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm like so out of the loop of healthcare. I don't. So you you got in after the whole healthcare changeover with Obamacare and stuff then.
Yes, yes.
So so you probably don't know much about that end of things then, probably.
Unfortunately, I do not. I know that as a tech, it was really hard for people to get in with, like, one of the biggest complaints was that their doctors weren't taking Obamacare.
Okay.
So it was very hard for them to get in with their doctors because a lot of doctors were refusing to use Obamacare.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest I don't know, quarrels I guess I would have with our current state of things. Like I love that we're, I love our country and I'm thankful to be where we're at. It just feels like, if we're like the one of the best nations on earth, we should have better health care, provided for the people who can't afford it, the sick and the old and the misfortuned, you know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan says it best, like if we were the best country, wouldn't we want less losers? And I feel like our infrastructure and our things kind of fall apart, and sometimes we don't put the necessary steps and time into making them the best that they can. But it's such a complex thing that like I can't even begin to understand how it would work. I just know that I know people that still have never had healthcare ever. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to say that we're the best, and if this is the best that the world has to offer, then like I feel like as a species we need to step it up. You know?
Yeah, there's many areas And with the healthcare stuff that I've seen, stuff that I've heard, I really can't speak to the insurance aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, but no, I agree. I wish our healthcare system in regards to insurance was way better than it is. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, is there anything else you want to get into or speak of on anything? Is there anything else you want to tell people, during this time?
No, just stay safe and stay in, and hopefully this passes, and one day we can all get back to our normal lives. But right now, it's not that time.
Right now is not that time. So yeah, it's unfortunate that some of these states are opening back up and basically guinea pigging because people it's. I mean, I know I want to get back to work too. I want everyone to be able. Guys, I mean, it's gonna hurt. Like, how many businesses are not gonna survive?
Yeah. Well, they are doing. They did send out. I heard something about like a whole other grant that Trump was doing, like 384 million or something like that, or 84 million,
Mm-hmm.
where he was giving to small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. Like some of them may not survive, but right now, I mean, with the amount of people that are getting sick and how fast this can spread,
Yeah.
opening up would only, like you said, we would be guinea pigs. It
Yeah.
would be either a huge mass would get sick, and I don't. That's not a risk I would want to take
So
personally.
so do you guys in the hospitals have enough like rubbing alcohol and stuff like that?
We have, well, yeah, we have rubbing alcohol. They give us cleaning products and stuff like that. We do have them.
Okay.
It's more just like the PPE. We try to rationalize as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, we do have it, but we don't have a lot of it.
I get it. I get it. I just was curious because, like, in the stores, at least around me, I've not been able to find rubbing alcohol, and I had heard a rumor that it was being directed to the hospitals. Um,
It may be. I haven't heard anything about that. Because we don't get actual bottles of rubbing alcohol. We get the pads, but they may be using it in the solutions because they keep coming up with new solutions for us to clean stuff with, so they may be using it in that.
okay. Yeah, because I was
But
just
no.
curious how that worked. Like, if you guys were actually like at a shortage of it, or if there was like if you guys were using it a lot, like for this, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure how that was working.
Oh, I haven't personally heard anything about rubbing alcohol.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. But I know like the cleaning products, they're like it's hard to find anything.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Lysol, all that stuff has been gone for,
yeah,
I
because
just.
I was actually quarantined because my first patient I was exposed to, that was the first positive patient we had in the ER. They made me go home and self quarantine for 2 weeks,
Oh,
and
wow.
I got a phone. I felt like a lab specimen, to be honest. I had to keep a diary of my temps and stuff like that every day. I got a phone call asking if I had any symptoms, if I had a fever. Okay, we'll call you and check in tomorrow. I was supposed to not use the same bathroom as my family. I was
Mhm.
supposed to wash the toilet every time I used it,
Yeah.
spray the air down, not be in contact with them, stay as far away, wear a mask at all times. So I literally wore a mask 24 hours a day while I was home that 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, but obviously you made it through it. Was it bad? So did you ever test positive?
No, I was never actually tested because I had no
Oh,
symptoms.
okay.
So they never
So
tested
you don't
me.
know. You could have been asymptomatic, or you could have just not even.
Yeah, but luckily my mom and my daughter have not gotten sick. But like I said, I'm not really home either.
Mhm.
And I did have great friends. I had extra supplies because I literally could not find anything and I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I have a great friend that makes masks, so I got masks from her. And
Awesome.
then I had friends drop me off cleaning stuff, so I literally like Lysol cleaned, sprayed everything every day because I did not want to take a chance of them getting anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's such a frightful time. It's like we're all just kind of like holding on to a little glimmer of positivity, hoping that we make it through this. Um, I just am super thankful again to have you on to talk about this stuff. I have not gotten a chance to talk to anyone who's directly related to any of this stuff, or like connected, I should say. So it really is a pleasure to hear your perspective on it and your experience.
Oh, no problem at all.
Thank you. So again, this has been Deanna, Nurse Deanna from McNeil, and I'm Pete Ellis. Thank you for tuning in and have a good one.